Hey guys and gals, Nary here for Drake Wayne Gaming. It's something on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Lyre. So y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Let's jump right back into this horror show, shall we? God, I hope this boy gets some rescuing soon. Okay. He wipes the spit from his face with the back of his glove, but as he does this, something catches his eye and he leans in closer. Your eyes. They're brown. While I'm recovering from the heavy blow to my face, he runs over to the cart Siren used and he grabs a long rag off of it. He rushes back over me and wrenches my jaw open, shoving most of it into my mouth and down the back of my throat. He's surprisingly strong and I try to yell, but it comes out muffled. I then go to bite down on his hand, but the cloth is already bunched up in my mouth. He then ties the rest of the long rag around the back of my head, finally gagging me. I struggle to say anything or push the cloth forward with my tongue, but it's no use. I can hear Siren walk up to the door and he kicks it open with his foot. When he walks in, he's got a large metallic bowl, carrying it by handles on either side. It's very wide, and resting inside of it is a pile of red-hot coals and a branding iron. It's already glowing a bright red color at the end, and the sight causes me to uncontrollably struggle in my chains. Very good, Siren. You can set that on the ground over there. He says this, pointing to a spot on the floor where there's no straw. Siren sets it down with a loud thud. Turn him around. I yank the chains as hard as I can, hoping to break free from the wall. Anything to stop what's going to happen. It's hopeless, though, and Siren grabs my wrists and body, forcing me into a position so that I'm kneeling on the bench, face pressed against the bricks. Screaming into my gag is pointless, but I can't help yelling in fear as the seconds pass. You're mine now. Do you understand? It's like I said earlier. Your life is in my hands. I hear Siren reach over and pick up the brand. The sound of the coals crumbling around it as it's lifted from the basin, causing fear to course through my veins. He starts to limp towards me, but Adrius stops him. No. I'll do it. Adrius yanks the rod away from Siren and gets behind me. Seconds turn into minutes. Minutes turn into hours. After it feels like forever, it finally happens. First, I feel the pain. Searing and sharp, I can almost feel the shape of the metallic antlers on my skin. It presses into my back, pushing deeper and deeper with each second pressure is applied. Then I hear it, a sizzling noise enter my ears, which gets louder the more it goes on. I can almost hear the skin ripple as it burns away, the brand pressing harder into the flesh beneath the surface. Finally, I smell it. It's something I've never smelled before, but I've heard how awful it can be. The horrible smell of burning flesh overwhelms my senses. In fact, the effect this terrible act has on my senses is so great it completely drowns out the sounds of my muffled shouts of pain. At least from my perspective. I know in my bones that Adrius is taking it all in as much as he can. For what feels like minutes, but was most likely a few seconds, Adrius lifts the brand away from the center of my back. At first there's relief, but it quickly turns into raw pain as the cold air rushes over the wound. See, that wasn't so bad. I even made sure it was centered. Siren gets behind me and positions me so that I'm now facing Adrius. Jesus Christ. He's a sadistic little fuck it. I try as hard as I can not to lean my back against the wall. Go and get the guards. We need to get him outside on the walls before sundown. Outside? Is he finally going to have me executed? It's an easy assumption, but why the walls? Siren leaves to the door and slowly limps up the tunnel, a wheezing chuckle exiting his lips. Adrius turns back to me, but instead of looking smug or frustrated, all I can see is an inattentive expression. It's a betrayal of what I've experienced in the past several days, and it sends a chill up my back. It's like the face of someone who just woke up after a long night's rest. Where? I can hear the guard's footsteps coming up the hall at a much faster pace than Siren. Adrius hears them too and goes to the door, opening it and walking through. Get him ready and bring him to the wall. Someone tell the executioner to saddle his horse. The guards enter the cell, one of them standing by the door while the other walks up to me. I recognize them as being the guards from before. I reach down and undo the shackles on my feet. After taking those off, a wave of relief washes over my ankles. I hadn't noticed just how much the clasp had been resting on them. Reaching up, the guards grasp the wrists on each of my arms, one at a time, and remove the cuffs. I let my wrists fall into my lap. The feeling of being able to lower my arms is like heaven. Examining the skin, there's deep red marks on each wrist where they cut into the outer layers of flesh. The other guard throws me the shirt I was given before the trial and it lands in my lap. It's cold and damp, but after watching it lay on the floor for the past several days, it's to be expected. Put that on. I do as they say, lifting my arms to slide the shirt over my head. When my shoulder blades bend, I can feel the skin on my back stretch. The fresh branding wound still stings along with the lacerations from being whipped. As I slide the shirt over my head and down my torso, the cold cloth torments the wound at first, but the pain slowly goes away. Once the shirt is on, I attempt to stand up from my seated position. My legs wobble at first, but they're still pretty strong. The other guard has already left through the door and started walking up the tunnel. The guard by my side grabs the chains on my shackles and tugs me in the direction of the door. Walking hurts, but it doesn't feel like the pain will last. I can't afford to be slow either because the guard leading me isn't taking his time. We walk at a fast pace up the tunnel, approaching the stairs quickly. As we make our way up the hall, my mind keeps going back to something odd. Adrius is hiding something. Not the identity of the true killer, but something else entirely. The way he acted back there was stranger than I'd expect. The light from one of the windows in a cell that we passed by blinds me for a second as the setting sun shines through. Imagine Lyre leaping out from one of these empty cells and cutting down the guard where he stands. What would happen after that, though? We'd never make it outside the castle. It's a stupid thought, but one that I want to cling to. We reach the stairs and the guard practically pulls me up them. My thighs are starting to ache, but I push past it. At this point, I just want to reach our destination and figure out what's going on. I have many questions just from hearing Adrius talk about what's going to happen. Why are they taking me to a wall? Why does the executioner need his horse? There's also the hunt that Adrius mentioned. No. Wait. Have they already found Lyle? They intend to hunt him down and make me watch? No, they can't do that! I won't watch. They're gonna have to force my eyes open. I just had hoped that if they did find Lyle, Adrius would have rubbed it in my face by now. At least that's what I think he would have done. None of this makes any sense. It's like a twisted dream. The guard leads me down the corridor, and we make our way to the western halls of the castle. There's crates and barrels lining the walls and plenty of storage closets. There are a lot of bows as well. Longbows, shortbows, even a few crossbows. I see rooms where the walls are lined with weapons of all kinds. Spears and swords rest on racks and shields lean against the walls. We even pass a few guards on the way and they look at me with disgust. I try to avoid their eye contact as much as possible while still looking at my surroundings. However, there isn't much else and soon we reach the end of the curved hall. Light shines in through the thin windows and I can tell we're close to the outer walls of the castle. The guard opens the door and I'm tugged outside. Once my eyes adjust to the bright light, I look around. We stand atop the walls of the outer bailey of the castle. Looking over the edge, I can see that we're not actually too high up, which is a good thing because I've never been a fan of high places. The sky is filled with a warmth as large pink and orange clouds consume the sky above the western mountains. Sunlight bursts through an opening in the center of the gathering of clouds, casting a bright glow over everything beneath it. Snow covers parts of the grassy fields below, and patches of purple flowers line the area around the walls. The guard behind me pushes me forward, and I begin to make my way down the long, narrow walkway. There are soldiers standing in formation at the edge of the wall, their capes blowing in the cold wind. They don't look at me, but instead look over the walls or chat amongst themselves. It's certainly better than having everyone's eyes on me. I look ahead of them, and at the very end of the wall, just before the stairs leading above the western portcullis, I see Adrius and Elizabeth. The rest of the northern nobility are seated in chairs behind them. They talk among themselves, but I don't see Lord Galen or Braden. He's the only ones who decided I was guilty. As I get closer... Who decided I was guilty? Okay. It's only the ones who decided I was guilty. As I get closer, the guard leading me stops and pulls me back, stopping me from going any further. There's no barrier in this part of the wall, the floor beneath my feet leading directly off the ledge. Even with his small stature and missing antler, Adrius stands tall and proud at the top of the wall. His cape blows in the wind behind him, the golden light from the sun making his fur glow with a bright, warm color. Looking at him, you wouldn't think he just had someone tortured for days on end along with participating in the act. When I look at Liz, she's the exact opposite of Adrius. Aside from her perfect posture with her head held high, I can tell she's tired. After everything that's happened, I don't blame her. Her eyes are sad, and most of the color in her face is gone. Her long auburn hair whips about as the wind picks up, the light making it shine a ruby color. I want to yell out to her and scream the truth. The gag in my mouth makes that impossible, but I know it wouldn't matter even if I could. It would just put her in more trouble and place a target on her back. A vision of her standing in the same place I am, getting ready to die, makes my insides roll in pain. That's not what I want at all. I just wish I could tell her to get out of here and run away from it all. Adrius begins to walk down the stairs, throwing his cape behind his shoulder. He waves his hand, and the guard holding my chains positions me so that I'm facing west, standing near the edge of the wall. Do they mean to kill me by pushing me off? The fall from this height wouldn't kill me, let alone harm me in any way. My legs might buckle once I hit the ground if I don't roll, but other than that, I've jumped from heights like this before and been fine. However, my muscles aren't as strong currently. Adrius reaches the bottom of the stairs and gestures to the hills and mountains beyond. Lord Luvun, you were found guilty of the murder of the king, along with many other crimes. For this, you have been sentenced to die. He turns back to me, a soft smile on his face. However, the laws do not decide how my father's killer dies. He walks up to me and rests his hand on my shoulder, standing by my side and gesturing to the hills. You don't deserve a beheading. No, instead, I'm going to give you a chance. He snaps his fingers, pointing at me, and the guard to my right begins to remove the gag from my mouth. Once it's gone, I cough and relish in the feeling of relief. My throat feels dry and I can still taste the cloth in my mouth. Getting my sense of taste back has never been so awful. We're going to have a hunt. He takes a key from the guard and begins to unlock the shackles on my arms. Once they fall to the floor, I caress my wrists, feeling the indents of the cuffs that left. So I so badly want to punch Adrius and knock his other antler off, but my body refuses to move. It could be fear or restraint that's holding me back, but deep down I want to kill him with my bare hands right now. Just don't know if I could. I've never murdered anyone before. In this hunt, you're going to be the quarry. The quarry? Of course. It all makes sense now. He wants me to run for my life. He wants to enjoy the fact that I think I have a chance. It's all very simple. Once you're on the ground, you're going to run. Run as fast as you can across the hills toward the mountains. You'll get a decent head start, too. Just kill him already! The Bear Lord shouts this in a jesting manner, but nobody laughs. Adrius just nods in his direction with an annoyed expression. Silence. He pats me on the back lightly and I wince in pain. If my headsman manages to catch you, he will kill you. This is your only chance. My only chance. Is it really my only chance? Do I even have a chance at all? He's gonna kill me anyway, there's no doubt about it. No. I'm not sure about any of it, but when I look to the horizon, I suddenly get a burst of energy. It's nothing physical, but instead I feel a spout of determination rush throughout my body. Tigran? I look around, half expecting to see them standing off in the distance. They're not, though. Their voice sounded so far away, too. Like they've become weaker. If you have any last words, I would speak them now if I were you. Nobody'd be able to hear you from down there. I look down below, the flowers blowing in the wind, sending petals scattering all over the snow. The sun shines on my face, allowing me to feel a warmth I never could in the cells of the castle. Tigran really did it. I don't know what they did, but like they said, I have to have faith. This really is my last chance. Turning to look at Adrius, our eyes meet and I shoot him a poisonous glare. My last words. Standing up straight, I face forward and clear my throat before speaking. I've said enough. The wind dies down, and for a moment it feels as if everything stands completely still. And Adrius' soft voice breaks the silence. Very well. Guard, when you're ready. Before he can even finish, I step forward and leap off the edge of the wall. I hear a few people gasp, but it's drowned out by the sound of wind rushing past my ears as I plummet. I hit the ground with a heavy thud and my knees buckle as I roll forward. Thankfully, I landed in a small patch of snow, but it didn't do the best job of breaking my fall. Without hesitating for even a second, I get up and break into a sprint. Do it, man. The snow and grass beneath my feet is freezing cold, making my feet instantly go numb. I push through it and keep running, not looking back. I hear Adrius yell something to me from the wall, but I can't make it out. I rush through the patch of flowers, their petals brushing against my legs as I wade through them like water. Alright, y'all, I'm gonna pause it right there. Ooh! Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my night, y'all. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!